Shalom. This is Ariel Ben Yashrallah out of Lions Den Camp. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadash, Ma'amath. A double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. A double honor to my elder as well, Aharwan Ben Yashrallah down here in the Lions Den Camp. And it's sincere thwada to the Akim, the Akwatim, and the children that are pushing the truth and believe with sincerity thwada. I wanted to go into imagination. I was watching the elders latest video, and he said something about imagination. I forget exactly what he said and what the point was, but I just remembered going into imagination. And with that, I wanted to get 2 Corinthians chapter 10. I'm gonna start at verse 3. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of a Mashiach." So when we're talking to people, we have to be caring, loving, attentive. We also have to be empathetic and understanding, knowing that the same walls that are breaking down in these people's mind, first we have to break them down within our mind as well. So when we're praying to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, we make sure that we're praying to Him with everything that we have within us, because we want the strongholds and the strongholds of wickedness that are in our mind and also our people's minds, the casting down imaginations of wickedness, every high thing that exalt itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Everything, all these hot topics that keep popping up in social media and stuff like that, everything that everything that's popping up when it pertains to prophecy, when it comes to like the war things that's going on. But all the other politics and everything else is just vanity, because it goes against the knowledge of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, so we have to cast down imagination when we're talking to somebody about Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We have to break down that imagination that they have, because the only thing that they know of Yahushai is Cesare Borgia. That's the only thing. That's the primary thing that a lot of people have in their head is Cesare Borgia when they think of Yahushua. When we say Yahushua, we're telling them a completely different person. We have to really paint that picture in their mind of who Yahushua is and who the Father is as well. And we also have to do that within ourselves and pray to Yahweh evermore. I'm gonna get the second scripture. This is Revelation chapter 4. I'm starting at verse 1. "After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter." This is John, and he just got taken up into the spiritual realm. He's about to see the throne of Yahweh. "And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat. Let me make sure I'm all right, Con. All right. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne, and he that sat was to look upon like a jasper. So what's jasper? So this is jasper stone. There's a lot of different kinds, but it's primarily a reddish, brownish derivative. So that would be the color. And then it also says and this is a sardine stone, a reddish color as well. All right. And so that's what we should be imagining when we're praying to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, truly imagining that glow coming from off the throne, from a righteous source. All right. And so like verse 3, "And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne." Let's look up a real rainbow. All right, so I had to go to full real rainbows. And that's what rainbows look like. They're actually circular. So we'll imagine when praying to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, we imagine that color of the jasper, the color of the sardine stone, and around his throne is a rainbow. And that's truly a beautiful thing that he allowed our eyes to see the splitting of the light in this realm, and we have the ability to look at it as it is in the heavens around the Father. That's a truly beautiful thing, humbling as well. That's what we should be imagining when we're praying to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. I'm gonna go with my next scripture. All right, this is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. It says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Put on the whole armor." And this is going back to the Second Corinthians, where we're casting down imaginations. We know this is a spiritual battle that we're going through. All right, and spiritually, you have to see things a different way. We have to use our imagination in a sense, you know. We have to use it for righteousness' sake. Because I know a lady right now, a quick testimony before I bring the scripture out, is I know a lady right now, she has a very strong, a very active, and she has a very vivid imagination. And but but that imagination is used against her because she's always like thinking of negative things. You know, she's always getting frazzled by like the slightest thing. Whenever somebody walks by, she'll brush it, and you know, of course, it's a lot of heartache and pain behind it as well. You know, conditioning because because women in society. But what the scriptures do is they ultimately when we put them in the forefront and also in the back of our mind as well, and when we implant the scriptures into our subconscious, that's when we truly start to feel freedom and start to feel that breath of fresh air in our mind. More not our carnal mind, but you know we have more access to the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We use our imaginations to think righteously, to think about, to hoping about being in the presence of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So in saying all that, make sure I'm playing. In saying all that, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities." I'm going to look at that word principality. All right, so look up the definition of principalities. I had to look up the definition of principle. And the definition of principle is first in order of importance, main, of money, denoting an original sum invested or lent. The person with the highest authority or most important position in an organization, institution, or group. So pretty much the numero uno. And people in this society think that the wicked are numero uno. They think that the wicked are the head. They think that the wicked are the first, and we have to break that down in their mind. So we're spiritually battling those imaginations out of their mind, casting, we're pulling down the strongholds in these people's minds, and we also pull down the strongholds and cast off wicked imaginations from wicked imaginations from ours as well. You know, really battling in the spirit. And that's why we must have love and compassion and care towards the people that were out there. And of course, you know, don't cast pearls on the swine. So keep that in the balance as well. Ephesians chapter 6, verse Slakia. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." And the rulers of this world are truly dark. Their soul is void of light of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. "Spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with the truth." So we're supposed to it's like you're supposed to girt our loins with truth. How does one girt your loins? This is how one would girt their loins. You know, it's a Edomite portraying it, but so number one, and this is what our men would wear back in the day. It would have fringes at the bottom. So you would take your tunic, you would hike it up, put it in front of you. You put all that material in the back. Then you bring material across your legs, and you tie it in the front. And the civil says, finally, tie your two handfuls of material together, and you're all set for both battle and some hard labor. Go forth, be ye a man, and gird up your loins. So that knot, that bundle right there, to secure your clothes, to secure your spirit. That's that's supposed to be that's supposed to be the truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's where that's supposed to lie. Um, places then. All right, stand the fortress with having your loins girded about with the truth and having on the breastplate of righteousness. So let's look at a breastplate. So this is a breastplate. Goes over your chest primarily, like that. They have a lot of Europeans on here. I mean, myself, when I imagine a breastplate upon me or something, I will rather go into battle with. I would like something like this. I know that the protruding metal off of the chest help against impact, but I also don't want to. I don't want to have like a cave in. I feel like I don't know. I don't know, but I would like to have something like this. It protrudes a bit, but it still is kind of compact onto it. I'd rather be able to kind of like dodge an attack or to kind of like glance off of it. I would prefer that. So that type of breastplate, and right there where that piece of metal is, that's what we're supposed to. That's what we're supposed to have, the righteousness of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. More like a badge of honor rather than, oh, look at my power. You know, like IUIC does. They kind of they kind of wear what they think what is righteousness, but it's really just pride. We're supposed to wear, and they have the pride. Make sure I was recording. And they have the pride of money. They have the pride of man pleasing. That's what they glory in. But we're supposed to glory in the spirit of Yahweh, the spirit, love, mercy of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and dwell in that spirit and that vibration. Breastplate of righteousness, and your feet. And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. All right, feet. So when I looked up the word shod, it just meant foot, and I just looked up foot armor. Now, I wouldn't want nothing like this because it's kind of clanky to me. I feel like I would trip up. And plus, if you kick somebody, I don't want to get stuck in a bone or nothing like that. I'll have something more like this around going into battle. And right there where that where that top part is for your foot, that's where peace is supposed to be. So, we don't, what's that, roughly paraphrase, I'm going to look it up. All right, so this is Isaiah chapter 59, verse 7. It says, their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their paths. Con. So we're not supposed to have feet that run to evil and that make haste to shed innocent blood, because our people and these heathens crucify the Lord afresh every day by worshiping these holidays, by giving indulgence into the pleasures and the lusts of their flesh. Okay, so going back to Ephesians chapter 6. Verse 15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. That's where our feet should be running towards peace. Our feet should be working to get unto peace, not for our physical bodies, but for our spiritual bank accounts that we're working on. Verse 16, above all. Okay. Verse 16, above all, taking the shield of faith. So it's a shield. So these are shields that when they're being attacked, they will hide behind, and they will have faith in that shield that it will protect them and block them. All right, and that's what we're supposed to have the faith for faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And me personally, I would just stick with a regular old circle. I feel like oldie but a goodie. The Vikings, they some heathens, but they should be on point. I can kind of vibe with that. And then also, when I imagine the shield of faith, I would imagine that shield being strapped to the arm more like this, so that way you can use it as a weapon as well. And right here, it's got metal on the edges, so you can kind of like hit somebody as well too. All right, I would imagine that one, something like that. So having that shield of faith hiding behind that to block an attack. Um, Verse 16 of chapter 6 of Ephesians, above all, taking the shield of faith wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Let's look up some war darts. All right, so these are war darts. You have some of them that are large like this, which pretty much like a very skinny spear almost. This is something like this as well. That they would. Now they used to drop these from planes in World War One when their missile technology wasn't really that far. They used to have them shitty planes, them open planes, and they used to drop darts like this, but they weren't as accurate. Something like this as well, like a pool bar, like a bar pool, a bar that usually has pool. They also have darts, and this would be like something that'd be in there. So this is what the what the wicked are tossing at us. Make sure I'm recording. This is what the wicked are tossing at us. This is what the well, to be exact, to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked Khan. So those are the darts that are being quenched by the shield of faith that we hold up of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. Verse 17, it says, and take the helmet of salvation and the word of the Spirit. So let's see a war helmet. So I looked up some ancient war helmets. Me myself, if I was in battle, I wouldn't want to wear that type of helmet. I would want something to cover my face. So I would trust a ancient ancient helmet, and so there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot to imagine about when you're thinking about protecting your head. To quench the fiery darts. So and this is a salvation. And this is what we're supposed to be putting on our head as a helmet. Salvation. And that's truly what we want to be saved. And when you really rely on a helmet to get for salvation, and we're supposed to have the helmet of salvation in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And there was one in here that I would actually trust to go into battle with. Like all these are pretty flashy, but something like that I would actually trust going into battle. Something more like this. I feel like you should have like a good peripheral vision while also keeping a lot of your head and face protected as well. These I feel like there's no peripheral vision, and I would want something that grants me peripheral vision. So I would helmet of salvation like that. Who I was recording on. Oh. But con. So verse 17. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit. So let's see what a sword is. Well, we would know what a sword is, but let's see what some look like. So I'll type in ancient sword. I'm gonna type in ancient swords, make it plural, so we get different types. So some swords like this. Our people were primarily. Hold on. So I typed in ancient Israel sword. I don't think these to be accurate, but I was just showing a variety of different ancient swords that our people would have carried. And you can also imagine a samurai sword as being the take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, Khan, and that's the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, that you're ultimately holding that blade, that extension of you, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, the word, and it's like not the word, but the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Let me get this precept. This is Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. It says, for the word of Yahweh is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So that's why we have to have patience, care, and honor when we're out there or on highways and byways teaching people, and also in our day-to-day lives, truly being being humane, because we either gonna mark them for destruction, and pretty much like, all right, agree with that adversary, don't cast your pearls on the swine, be like, all right, yeah, cool, all right, or we actually, nurture them, truly give them milk of the word, truly, be able to thoroughly break things down for them, so that way they can, so that we can tear down the strongholds and the imagination in these people's minds. All right, and back in Ephesians, this is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 17. It says, "And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Khan, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints." Khan. So that's what we have to mold our imaginations to be. We have to truly imagine that we're, not only imagine, but when our imagination also know that we're in a spiritual battle right now. So, pray this lesson was edifying. Shalom.